Opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And good evening and welcome everyone to another episode of Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date, April 1st, April Fool's Day, 2022. Although, you know what? It seemed to me like on Facebook today, everybody must be over April Fool's Day. Or the alternative, because there's nothing on social media really prank-wise. The other alternative is the world is so fucked up that everybody said, well, let's just skip it this year. Okay, tonight we have at the bottom of the hour, we do have a couple of celebrity announcements for you. And of course, I welcome the Council, Brandon Griffith and Adrian Elder. Hi, kids.
Sounds so professional when you call it the Council.
Well, I couldn't think of anything spookier. I wanted something.
I keep thinking of like the old movie from like early 2000s, like Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It's the evil council.
Well, that's what I was going for. So in the chat room, viewers, if you happen to think of a scarier name for our little cadre of Scarefest planners, let me know. We might just change the name. I can do that because I do the graphics and all that shit for the show. Anyway,
I like it. I'm not dissing it. I like it.
See, well,
but hey, we can do a survey.
Yeah, if you like it, that's fine. But that was what came on. I needed something fast. I said, well, that sounds appropriate. And so I went with it. And the rest is history, as we like to say in the podcast business. Anyway, tonight, everybody, you're just going to be sitting in on kind of our review of the last month of planning Scarefest. Brandon, unfortunately, has a ton more news than he can actually share with you because contracts and shit like that. But we've had, Brandon at least has had a productive week. We're just getting things going on. I know we've had some questions about the paranormal lineup. We're just getting that rolling. I'll talk about that a little bit later, about where we're going with that. But otherwise, what do you want to talk about tonight, Brandon?
Well, I guess first off, I'd like to say that, thanks for the staff and everybody that came out to our little shindig birthday get together last night that we're able to. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I'm glad that everybody was able to showed up. And I was reminded of just how awesome our staff are and how just kick ass that they did last year. I mean, they do great every year, but last year, everybody really knocked it out of the park. And I just am overwhelmed at the folks that we have that volunteer for us. It's amazing. That being said, I'm a little bit slow on the draw today because I don't know. I didn't get home until midnight, and I'm too old to do that kind of stuff.
I was actually going to suggest that you might consider, if you're going to have this on a school day, maybe you should just have it during the day next year.
I tried to take off work today, man, and it just never happens. I don't even know why I try. I should just stop. I did want to talk a little bit, though, about this past weekend. And, if you guys were able to make it out to LexCon, because we actually learned quite a few things from that show that I was going to talk about tonight. If you guys, in case you didn't know, the Lexington Comic and Toy Con was last weekend, and they had a phenomenal turnout. I mean, it was a really good show.
As it locked the doors at 1 o'clock turnout, I want to throw that in.
Yeah. I think they had to probably have their best year ever, and I think it's just a mix of, they had their show in September right before us last year. And, people were still worried about getting out. And I think Omicron was just starting to be a thing. And, they had good numbers, but, this, to have it back to back like that and do it in March, I mean, people were ready to get out. And I mean, it showed. There probably had to be 30,000 people there. Easy.
My takeaway from it was do not put your artist tables all the way across the building, dead center of the floor. I did pick up on that, and I pointed out to everyone I know.
Yeah, there was a few things like, seeing how they do their floor plan and how we take that into consideration. And, we talked a little bit about the floor plan at one of the council meetings on here, but I think it's a good time to kind of bring it back up just so people kind of have an idea of what we're thinking. And if people have any ideas, like, feel free to shoot them out. But, the artist tables go in the full length of the hallway. It cuts the floor in half, and so you can't get from the front to back. It basically just creates like the northern ice wall from Game of Thrones. Like it's just unpassable. And so you'll be going full steam ahead, and you can't get through it. So the floor layout, watching how they did their ticket sales and stuff like that, like their lines. I mean, of course, Comic-Con is much bigger than Scarefest just because, we're a horror con. But, they had lines wrapped around the building too. And their ticket sales are quite a bit different than ours. Like, if you want to buy tickets on site, which again, we always do that. You're always going to save money if you buy them online, but we always do sell there too. And they did this year too, at the little window as you're walking in. And then their check-in is in what's called the spine. So I just want to remind everybody, like, what's up on the website right now. I mean, it's fairly indicative of what we're going to be doing, except for the front of the building. Like, the ticket booth is not going to be where it was last year on the floor. It's going to be out in that hall because we have the entire spine. And the spine is that section between Rupp Arena and the convention center that we had to share last year with all the shit-kicking country fans of what's that dude's name that comes like every year? He has the concert like every year at Scarefest time.
Jason Aldean.
Jason Aldean.
Yeah, like
playing at Scarefest the night of a Jason Aldean concert. Never heard the like.
Yeah, I mean, who really gives a shit about Jason Aldean? If that guy walked in my house right now, like, or if he was in a police lineup, I couldn't tell you what he looked like. But
did you ever maybe he wants to play Lexington on Scarefest weekend because he wants to come to our show? Did you think about that? He might be.
I mean, that would make sense. I mean, he did come in the floor the other day. I was like, it's either that or he's having an affair with my wife or something, and they meet up there every year. Sorry, Nicole, it's a joke. I know nobody thinks that you're having an affair with Jason Aldean, but there's a reason he comes in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just attractive, but I've never seen him. So anyway, so and we had very limited use of that area. And so that whole thing is wide open now.
Yeah.
So the ticket booths and everything are going to be in there. One of the things that they told me while I was down there this last time was that the front, so the High Street and the Vine Street entrances will both be open. So that'll be kind of cool. I mean, it presents some challenges, but I think it'll be fun or good that people will not have to walk, I don't know, all the way around the friggin' building to get to the door, especially with the parking situation.
Yeah.
I don't think that the parking is going to be the same. I think for right now, they're supposed to be building a soccer stadium down there, and the soccer stadium is going to take some of the parking. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Like they were saying they were going to start on it. It's not happening, and so parking will be the same. One thing Comic-Con, like I said, it's a huge thing. They take up stuff on all 3 floors. So they have their vendor hall on the first floor, and then their photo ops and panels on the second, and then their celebs are on the 3rd floor, which is all kind of confusing because it basically just goes down. So first floor is like High Street. Anyway, I I mean, they have to do that because of their size. I'm never going to do that. We don't have to, I don't think. And so our slabs will always be like, everything's going to be self-contained. I mean, it's 100,000 square foot. I mean, we're not going to like branch it out and have people lost and trying to figure out where to go and all that stuff. Plus it's bad for the vendors, I think, for our guys, like, when you're having like 10 or 12,000 attendance versus like 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the ticket booth in the spine, we're thinking about having some stuff out there, kind of take advantage of that space, and still having that front part, like the first few doors as the main entry side. So if you look on there, like the stages and everything, we've changed that around a little bit because, again, I want to reiterate, the Stars Row area with the speaker area and the stage, like in the thing, I know that sucked. I don't need any more messages about how bad it sucked. I knew it sucked then. I know it sucks now.
Brandon, it would be probably a good thing if you had a couple of people on your planning council that told you that wasn't going to be a good idea before the show happened. You might have people that are better at giving you feedback. Someone should have told you that wasn't a good idea.
Well, in my defense, they set the floor bad. It wasn't supposed to be like that. That's not what we drew out. That's not what we talked about. That didn't happen. And you guys were in there when we walked in on, like, what was it, Thursday?
It was Wednesday.
And I basically like looked at it and said, "Holy shit!" This sucks.
I will grant you the speaker area was worse when we found it than when we used it, but that's like saying that it was one type of COVID versus the other. We improved the situation, but that back wall right in the middle of Stars Row was.
That's what I was telling. God, I think I was telling Jim that last night. Like when we originally walked back there was like a 16-foot stage coming out from the wall. And it looked like somebody had, like, I don't know. It looked like it had been pooped on and like hadn't been cleaned. It was horrible. And so this is the monument of like we had to, like, I love the center. I love those guys. I'm pretty sure we had to pay for the stage to be put up, and I think we had to pay for the stage to come down.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there. Like, it was the first time we were in the building. Like, I thought that like the middle aisle was not supposed to be that big. So, I'll take responsibility on that one. It's hard to gauge like what it was going to look like. We've never been in there before, but yeah, it was supposed to be farther back. Anyway, the front section with minus the ticket booth, like, we're going to have the stages are still going to be on the floor for panels and entertainment and stuff like that. But we're going to expand the seating. We're going to partition them out from the food court. I know that wasn't good either. It also made sound really weird. So we're able to build partitions, with pipe and drape that are pretty good on sound. And so the stage area for the main panels is going to be bigger. It'll be in the front. It'll be separated off from the food vendors. In the big middle section, down the middle of, like, in between A and C, where the vendor or the artist tables usually are, like, we're pulling everything forward, and we're going to widen that hallway, and then we're going to have another speaking area that'll be partitioned off, and that's where the entertainers will be. And then the back row is just nothing but celebrities making a big giant rectangle, basically. With line building, in the back hallway and things like that. The photo ops will either be back in the main corner of in the main back hallway, or just before you get to Celebrity Row. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but it'll be a lot easier. And after going to, like, Comic-Con and a couple other shows here recently, like, my mindset is I want people to have plenty of space to walk, because the worst thing in the world is to do the zombie shuffle in between, like, an 8-foot hallway. Like, I can't stand it. It makes me not have fun. And it makes it harder to get around. And so that's just my personal preference. I was at a show this past weekend that wasn't Comic-Con, which I love and I go every year. But I mean, it took a long time to get through it. And then it was easy to get kind of lost in the celebrity area. It was like, it was just really confined. So I just don't, great show. I just don't go in for that. I like it to be wide open. Plus, if it's not, I can't drive my damn cart through there.
Exactly.
That's got to happen.
And that the floor plan and the center and everything is the way that it is. It's not actually because we want our fans to be comfortable. It's because Brandon needs to be able to drive his scooter around on the floor at all times.
And it also makes my 70 trips to Lex Live a little bit easier from the other end of the building. Everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more Scarefest TV and the Council.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping.
And welcome back, everybody, to our little jam session we like to call the Council. So we're talking about the floor plan now. I think we ought to go ahead and address the whole ATM section publicly so that everybody doesn't blame us when it gets here. But basically, everybody, we found out, okay, because convention centers just like to dick things up for us. We can't bring in our cash machines, our ATMs. The center has to, they're going to supply them. Now, continue with the story, how well that went this last weekend.
Now, yeah, and they recognize, like, the center is really, really good about seeing, the Comic-Con is basically like a trial run, I think, for us. Because, I mean, we're able to see kind of what does work and what doesn't work. And the center is really good at correcting those and working with us to get it fixed. I want to make sure, like, I really love working with the center. But now there are some things that are, out of their control. The folks that we work with that, it's just the way it is. But the ATMs had a bigger line, I think, than the Twin Peaks cast. Like they had, at one point in time, I counted it off, and it was 45 people, and the next time I went, it was like 60. And so they had two ATMs in the entire place. One was in the main hallway next to the ticket booth, and the other one was on the first floor next to the celebs. But it was hidden by the escalator.
Oh.
You can't have people waiting in line for ATMs. Like, that is the biggest suck of the whole thing. And like, if you guys remember the ATMs at the old place, like, you had the one out in the food court. Yeah, it was one in the freaking food court, and it always had a line of, like, I don't know, 10 people or something like that. But it just seems like more now, like the ATMs last year at Scarefest, I mean, those things were hopping.
Mm-hmm.
We had them all over the place. I think we had like three or four.
Yeah.
So the plan right now, as I understand it, is that they're going to have at least two on our floor next to the ticket booth in that hallway. That's supposed to be the plan. Now, we're advocating for more, and I think we'll probably get more because they saw the lines there that weekend. And I think that I think everybody kind of noticed that that's just not very good. So I'm confident we'll have, but we're going to have them all like we put them on the floor last year because we didn't have the spine. And so if we have 2 to 3 ATMs, they're probably going to be out in the spine or in the back hallway, or maybe somewhere going into Stars Row or something like that. But we should have enough. If they don't, then obviously we're going to have to figure something out. But as it stands right now, I think it'll be okay.
We could load the ATMs that we used like in a panel van, keep them parked in the garage, and then the moment the others run out of money, you can go up and throw one of your little Brandon temper tantrums and say, "If you all can't do it, we will." And
yeah, we had to do that with food last year. That was fun. Brandon, I don't normally throw a temper tantrum unless it unless I have to. I don't like to, and so I'm usually pretty.
Come get in my
flat.
PM. It's a horror con. Just come get in my windowless van.
There you go. Yeah, we can just like park the van on the floor, and then if we need it, that way we don't have to unload the thing. We'll just open the door and say, "This is what's in all windowless vans."
Well, experience. Buy your tickets here.
I've thought about I'm still on that kick of trying to get an RV and park it on the floor and just stay in it that weekend.
You cannot park it on the floor, but you can park it in the lock.
No, you can actually I'm seriously, I've thought about this.
No one wants your RV on the floor unless it's the Breaking Bad RV, and we can go in there and raid your snacks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I find a Winnebago, from The Walking Dead, and I put a camper chair on top of it and put some blood and some handprints on it,
there you go.
I think it can go on the floor and I can sleep in it and do whatever. So I'm really kind of, that's my plan. If I can make that happen, I'm all about it.
I don't know when you think you're going to have a chance to sleep anyway.
Well, that's true. Hey, last year, I got to take a shower 75% of the days that I was there, which is it's a big improvement. My wardrobe didn't, basically be composed 100% of me grabbing T-shirts and hoodies off the merch rack.
Right. Exactly.
We're winning. It's an improvement. Year after year, it gets a little bit easier to run. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And remember to pack your underwear.
Yeah, that was a bad year.
Oh man,
that was fairly rough. What's the other big stuff going on? I want to remind everybody too, and we started doing this. The vendor stuff is looking really good this year. We've got a lot of returning vendors. We've got a lot of vendors that are coming in that we haven't had before, and kind of what we did last year. And I've done this, started doing it this year with some of our VIPs and friends of the show and things like that. If they find a vendor that's never been to Scarefest and offering them you've got 5 discount codes and you can hand those out to whatever vendors you want to. The only rule is that they can't have been there before. And, we have to have final approval on it because I don't want 50 T-shirt vendors. So we've done that with a couple of folks and we've gotten some really kick-ass vendors out of it. I am super, super excited about vendors this year. And
yeah. I mean, they always are, but we got some really cool new vendors this year too.
Yeah. I found a vendor the other day, that just makes really cool, metallurgy, I guess you could say. And they've never done a show before. And we just talked to them about what it would look like and, what we think would work. So I think we're doing some stuff outside the box and trying to open up the doors for some really cool stuff, on there. So if you've got, vendors that, you've gone to a show and, Timbuktu, and you came across a horror related vendor that you'd like to see at Scarefest, I'm going to probably start posting codes that people can use. And again, it's going to be one of those things where I've kind of handed it out to people here and there to see how it works. And figuring out the best way to do that still, but we can put it out there and let folks use it. I think it's a really cool idea. I like doing it. It helps the vendors out because, it only works for everybody if everybody makes money. And so I think that'll work.
Quick question from the chat room: have we gotten any updates on the allowances for selling food? Because now Comic-Con had a fudge vendor that apparently did pretty good.
It was really weird. So Levy, the food situation down there. So it used to be that if you had a food vendor came in and it was a competing vendor, that the vendor had to pay $75 fee on top of their, like, to the center, on top of their booth fee. And in extreme situations, like we've agreed to eat that cost for them so they could do it. But there, if you guys noticed, like there was a bunch more food vendors there this year, and some of them were actually subcontractors for Levy. So the bar / horse trailer / lemonade stand that was up in the corner that sold coffee too, those were actually subcontractors, and so they basically pay a percentage to Levy for vending there. And hopefully you're going to come back to the show, because I know it doesn't sound very enticing the way that I describe it, but it was kind of cool. And you can't have too much of I guess too many bars on a con floor. So yeah, I think that's really cool. The chocolate fudge vendor or whatever it was, that was about 3 or 4 booths down from our booth. I spent a crap load of money there, and I mean, it was nice. Like I would definitely go with the fudge booth, and Rachel and them like reached out to them and stuff like that to see if they'd be willing to come back, and I think they will. So that would be really cool. But I don't know the specifics. Like I don't know if they were subcontracting. I don't know if they had to pay the $75 fee. So yeah, I've got to figure that out, how they did it. Melissa, if you're watching, or Becky, email me about the food vendors and let's see what we can work out this year.
I'm Melissa and Becky.
Yeah, and I mean, if we go that route, a Starbucks really close to my booth would make a lot of money. A lot of money.
Now, yeah, and speaking of vendors, I think like the other thing too. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that speaker applications are open, and we've got quite a few in there. And in addition to the speaker stuff, like we also have a link on the website, and the speaker stuff is on the website too. And I'm gonna start a big push on marketing with this, but we want to have more podcasters in attendance. And I do agree with the premise that, shows that charge podcasters to come in. I think we've done that before, and I had a conversation with somebody about it the other day, and it is kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit, because a lot of your marketing comes from your podcasters. There are a lot of really good horror podcasters that are out there, and a lot of really good ones that came to the show last year. And so what we've done on the website is we've put a media application to include YouTubers and podcasters. And, there's questions there to help us figure out, like, what that may look like. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So the application is out there. So if you're a podcaster or a YouTuber that's in the horror genre, like go on to or if you want a press pass, Wes does all that. But if you want to follow the application filled out, like, we'd love to hear from you. I think it would be good. Trying to think what other additions we did to the website. The hotel blocks are up. So I want to explain that a little bit for folks that may get on there and look at it. So we don't have a fan block at the Hilton, or the Hyatt, sorry. And we've talked about that, and I won't go back into it. But we do have fan blocks at the Hilton. That link is posted on the website. We have a block at the Clarion, and we're really, like, just to remind everybody, it's horse season in October. So waiting to book a hotel, I'll just tell you right now, is not the best idea.
Don't do it.
Now,
Book it now.
Yeah. Now you can still go on. Like, we don't have rates at the Hyatt, but some people are that's where they want to stay. So more power to them. Best advice I can give you to do that is, if you just stay on Friday and Saturday, the room prices are going to be higher. If you are coming down earlier, like on a Wednesday to a Monday, then your overall price will be cheaper per night. So keep that in mind. So anyway, so we've got rooms at the Clarion. We try to keep it up down Newtown Pike for our offsite fan blocks, and just because like we'll be running shuttles to the Clarion because that's going to be where we have a lot of people staying at. Like we've got some staff blocks out there. We've got some fan blocks out there. The Clarion is going to be, I think we got it for $100 a night, basically.
Yeah, right around.
Right. And they've just remodeled that thing. It's where we have Mystical Market. It's a really good hotel. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like 5-star like Ritz-Carlton, but it's really good. I stay there all the time. So
Yeah.
that's really going to be about your bed. Yeah, that's where I would look at. Now, and we got a lot of rooms there, like a lot. So if you're a vendor or you're coming in town for the show, you know, the Clarion's going to be a good bet. The La Quinta that is out on Newtown Pike, we also have a fan block there, and they're actually the cheapest of all the fan blocks right now. I think they're right at about $70 a night. Don't quote me on that, but it's roundabout. And so that link is posted on the website too. And we're still working on some more. The other one is not on Newtown Pike. It's about a mile in the other direction towards St. Joseph Hospital, and that's the Fairfield. That's it. And so that's a newer one, and those are super, super nice. It's not like walking distance or anything, but it's only like a mile drive, so it's really good. And all those are posted on the website. If you go to the website and go to the top menu, you'll see hotels. And we've got links on there, and I also put the mileage from the convention center to each hotel. So definitely look at that.
Okay, everybody, we're going to take our next commercial break. Soon as we come back, we're going to give you this week's announcements, the celebrity announcements for Scarefest 2022. Be right back.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly, maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
And our first celebrity announcement for the evening of Scarefest 2022, we've got Danny Hassel from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Is that all you got, Brandon?
Well, I thought you were going to do both, and then I was going to jump in.
No. One at a time. Give them their due. And if you were wondering, also, Danny also played Rookie in Guts and Glory: The Rise and Fall of Oliver North. There, I got that in. So, Matt,
all right. So Danny has one of the best. And this is just my opinion. You know, everybody has their own. He had one of the best Nightmare on Elm Street deaths that I thought of the whole thing, and that was when he made it through 4, and then he got back in 5, which you don't see a whole lot of in the Nightmare set. But he died on the motorcycle. Like he turned into like the big, like the motorbike, like the bicep, like the mic, like became a part of him, skin ripped off. It's one of my favorite scenes in like all the Nightmares. But we had Danny in 17, and if you were there in 17, Danny's a hell of a guy. He's really nice to talk to, really down to earth. He's really good with fans. I'm really excited to have him. I'm a fan of both 4 and 5.
Next up, you know her as Demon's Dance Squad member from Gimme an F. We got Lisa Wilcox coming. Also in 4 and 5 Nightmare on Elm Street.
So, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was the first one that I ever watched. Like, I'm totally backwards on the Nightmare thing. And so, when I watched it, I thought Alice was totally badass. And plus, she was in 4 and 5 back to back. And so, she kicks his ass twice. So, I love, like, I believe we had Lisa in 17. Very excited to have her back this year. She's really awesome. The part where she gears up. So if you guys, obviously everybody here has probably seen part 4, but when she's like taking the pictures down off of her mirror and she's absorbed like the powers of all the other guys, and she gets the jacket out, she straps the thing up, she got the headband, like the nunchucks, like it was totally badass. Then she just takes a bunch of sleeping pills and then ends up in a church and kicks his ass. So I thought, I'm really excited to have her this year. I think it's going to be really great.
And I feel good that I think I watched the movies all in order. I could not tell you the difference in any of them, looking back on it. In other words, you name a scene from a movie, I won't know which one it's from. But because I was at that ripe age when they came out, I know I watched the first one first.
Yeah, I definitely did not do that. My mom, like, I begged my mom to let me watch part 4, and she finally acquiesced to it. And I didn't sleep right for like a week. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it came out like 88. And so it kind of freaked me out. Like the thing, like the start, like the first one I watched, like where the guy dies in the junkyard and then the guy dies in the waterbed. Like I had a friggin' waterbed at the time. And so like, I could not sleep soundly on that damn thing after watching that.
Wait, did you ever sleep soundly on your waterbed?
I don't know. I was a chunky kid, so I had a good center of gravity. And so it basically just sunk down a lot.
I wasn't even born in 88.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting, like, you were young.
Yeah, screw you both.
I was like 9 or 10.
So wait, I have a question because like I didn't ask Brandon and Wes about before the show, so I have to kind of be a little cryptic here. Brandon, there was a guest that was at Comic-Con this year that we were going to announce for Scarefest this year, but because he was at Comic-Con, we did not bring him. Can we tell people that, or should we just not? Does that mean?
So we actually posted. We didn't really go into it because we posted Dana Ashbrook on the Facebook page, and he's on the website now. We really didn't we haven't really pushed it a whole lot because if somebody, to me, it's just cordial, and I really love Comic-Con and I love Jared and Jamie, and so I don't want to promote somebody at their show if they're going to come back and do our show. But Dana, I don't think we've ever had him at Scarefest. I think this is the first time. And he was so great with his fans. Like I had people go down there and come up and tell me about it. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but he, he's real big in Waxwork, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I'm really excited. And of course, Twin Peaks. Everybody, if you're not a horror fan, you seem to know him from Twin Peaks, but Dana will be coming, which really kind of rounds out, we've got 3 cast members, I think, were from Return 2. And I can't remember how many we've got for the first one, but it's a few. And we're actually looking at adding on to some too. We actually have an announcement here that we're going to be doing as part of the second round that is going to be adding on to our Return of the Living Dead, the first one cast. So we've actually got a pretty good lineup, I think, rounding out on Return, which is super cool because one of the first times I ever heard about Scarefest was they were playing Return of the Living Dead at one of the theaters in town.
Yep.
And I got tickets for the midnight showing, and I thought that I was absolutely blown away by being able to watch it in the theater. Now, one thing I can't tell you guys about the Return of the Living Dead stuff is that because I get a lot of I posted the other day, so I read people's guest like lists and, what people are wanting to see and who we should try to get. Return of the Living Dead, I think everybody is going to, I really, really got excited about our next Return of the Living Dead guest. Like, I'm super stoked. A lot of people ask about Clue, and Clue is probably not traveling this year. I'm about 99.9% sure that's not an option. And so just full transparency on that one. I love Clue. He's probably been my favorite guest of anyone that we've had. He's phenomenal. He has a stupendous acting career. And not to mention, he's probably just the most down-to-earth person I've ever met.
Awesome.
I mean, the dude, like, when he was at Scarefest the last time, like, he comes down, he every morning at like 7:30, like, he grabs a chair out of the food court and then goes and takes it outside and then sits facing the sun as it comes up. And so I talk to him like every morning for like an hour. So yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah, we probably won't be able to get him this year. There's a couple more of the central cast, in addition to the one that we've booked now, that we will probably end up doing, because I'd like to have a good solid Return of the Living Dead, cast reunion.
Okay, let me put.
If anybody,
go ahead, Adrian.
If anybody's keeping count of how many celebrities we have, just know that Brandon is going full steam ahead, and I'm about to jerk the rug out from under him and cut off celebrity announcements. So if they stop coming out, it's not their fault. It's mine, because we're going to end up more celebrities than vendors.
So what we're doing is that the positive side of being an established show, and like, we've really had good attendance last year, and so I'm really building up the horror side of things the way that if I saw it, I would be like, holy shit, I really want to go check that out. Now, of course, you've got to make sure that your eyes aren't bigger than your stomach, because you can overbook a show and then it's just not fun for anybody. So everybody has to keep in mind, like I was saying in the post the other day, like if Brandon ever wins the lottery, we'll get everybody he asked for.
We're going to have Airfest every year.
Until then, Brandon has a budget, and so he's trying to stick in that budget but bring you guys the best that we can. Now, one thing I will say, and I've told folks this too as I've talked to them, my mentality has always been, if you're buying a ticket to Scarefest, it's kind of like you're making an investment, and you're making an investment and you're trusting us to take that and produce a good show. So part of that is being responsible, making good decisions, and also listening to people that are coming to the show and working on booking with that. Now, unfortunately, sometimes like people just aren't able to get booked. People aren't able to make it. Some celebrities are still worried about COVID. That's still a very real thing that we have to keep in mind. But it is, getting better. And so, yeah, like I said, I watch, I talk to folks about it. I look at all the posts. I may not respond to them all, but I do see them all. And I'm a horror fan too. And so there's a lot of people that I want to see, but I don't book the people that, just Brandon wants to see. I don't think that's fair. And I don't just go out and say, okay, well, this guy has like 10 horror celebs that may do okay and they have nothing in common with each other. Let's book them all so we can get them on the website and sell some tickets and go about that. I am trying to be very
meticulous.
Yeah, like strategic in who I get, and making sure that we have really good like photo ops and group ops and things like that, and people that we don't have, like we have some people back year after year, and they do great and they're great with the fans. You're going to see some guest announcements over the next couple of weeks too that will be some people that we had last year. So I don't want anybody to get, here's my mindset on that. If you were able to make it to the show, that's great. Like, you had an opportunity to see folks. But not everybody was able to get out because we were still, COVID was still kind of full swing then a little bit. So talking with some of our long-term ticket holders and things, like, there'll be people that we bring back, and we're bringing them back because not everybody got to see them last year, but also because we're building a lineup around them too. And so like for instance, like Linnea, we had her last year, and we did Night of the Demons. So this year we're having Linnea back because it's Return of the Living Dead, and so you cannot have Return of the Living Dead without Linnea. So that's my mindset. Now, one of the things here's kind of the plan for the next few days, because we are, we're full swing on second round announcements, and you guys chime off, because like I'm working on zero sleep and I'm a little bit hungover, and so I'll just talk all night if you let me. But
we can run along. We can do that.
So
we're exactly at 10 p.m. So hurry it up. You got 14 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right. So I guess I'm doing most of the time, because we're talking about celebs and like that. I'm trying to do the bookings. Wes handles the Parasite of things, and I handle the horror. And then Adrian, once I get them booked, like basically we hand them off to her, and then she makes sure that they're very happy and that I haven't screwed anything up. So that's kind of the mindset behind it. But anyway, so we've announced the 2 tonight. We are going to be announcing another celebrity every night for the next 4 nights, I think. So 1 guest announcement per night. And then next week, we're going to start getting into, the next few announcements are going to be for part 4, part 5 guests, because I'm really stoked about that. And we've got a few people from that franchise, and not people that we've had before. So that's super exciting. And so I hope you guys are excited about it as I am, as you see them pop up. And so we'll be having those announcements. And then going into like the end of next week, we've got some really, like, I think, how many have we got total? Let's see. So not counting Lisa and Danny, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 more celebrity announcements that we're going to get through. And it's 10 that are pretty kick-ass, in my opinion. So, yeah. Now, one thing I can tell you, if you're expecting a Friday the 13th Part 3 to come out in the next few days, it's not going to happen on this ballot, okay? And everybody, since Friday 3 is probably one of my favorite ones. It's 40th anniversary. I'm super stoked about it. And so I want everybody to understand what's going on with that. So we've got the 4, and those guys are locked in. We're good, solid go. Now, we are still working on, and we have put the message out there. Caroline Parks, which was from part 3. She was the lady that took the spear through the eye on the dock. Excellent scene. Also the first kill, I think, when he started wearing the mask. So her, I'm really hardcore about Steve Miner. We've put that out there. You guys have asked about Steve Miner several times. I don't think Steve Miner's ever been to Scarefest. I don't think the part 3 folks have ever been to Scarefest. So Steve Miner, I'm very much on board. And if he is able to come and we agree on terms, I am 100% with Steve Miner. Dana Kimmel, I have a lot of people asking about her. Now, without going into too much detail, we've already put feelers out for that. There's some people that we're going out for that, are still concerned about going to shows, concerned about the pandemic and things like that. So
Jake says that they're in England. Are they doing a part 3 reunion at For the Love of Horror? Jake,
that's not Mare on Elm Street.
What?
I'm talking about Friday the 13th.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is going to be at For the Love of Horror?
Yes.
Okay. I just saw it. He's just like putting in chat and all caps.
I'd made the statement that, I was really wanting to do a 3 reunion, but I'm Love of Horror got them booked. And so I'm going to bring in quite a few casts from part 4, it looks like. And it's going to be a surprise, but you'll see them over the next few days. But yeah, so Friday the 13th part 3 is not booked out at Love of Horror. Dana Kimmel's not booked out at Love of Horror. So Dana Kimmel, definitely working on that. Paul, I'm blanking on his last name. He was the guy that like died with like, so part 3 was the first one in 3D. So he's the guy that gets his head squozen and his eyeball pops out, and freaked about 500,000 people out in 1982, I think it was. It was actually really cool. He drives the yellow bug. So those are 4 people from part 3 that I'm 100% like are on my radar. Let's see. But now, if you guys have any, I mean, I like I said, I still love, I love to see folks' ideas. I don't dismiss anything. We've got a few wild cards that we're working on for this year that hopefully, you know, will kind of catch people by surprise that I'm excited about if we can get it to work out. But yeah, I mean, this next round, this second round of announcements, I'm super excited about.
Yeah, and another thing I would like to mention to everybody is that now that we have got a decent chunk of our contracts lined out and announcements made for the upcoming show, I'm going to be working with a photo op company in the next several weeks to go ahead and get the photo ops live online for purchase. So, you know, a lot of us can't just spend a month's worth of money at Scarefest like as much as we'd want to. One thing about getting pre-sales up is that if there are photo ops that you know you're going to want and they're available several months before the show, you can kind of take your spending out a little further away, and then you're not having to spend a whole bunch of money at once. So if there are photo ops and things like that that you are going to want for the show, go ahead and keep that in mind when those go live, to start getting those. And then that also is a really good gauge for us when we're doing bookings and seeing, you know, how well each person does, and that goes towards, you know, booking them at future shows or which franchises, because we can read all the comments in the world, but if, you know, one person sells 10 times more photo ops than the other, that's what's gonna dictate, you know, who wants to come back and do the show and things like that. So just, you know, be aware that when the photo ops go up.
Okay, I'm going to derail it for a minute, take everybody to the final commercial break. But first, don't forget, we are taking volunteer applications on thescarefest.com or scarefestweekend.com. If you want to be a part of this, come and fill out a volunteer application. And I do want to mention also, of course, we are taking entries for our horror film festival. So if you know an independent film producer, or you are an independent film producer, or anything like that, go ahead, click the link at the site and get your entry in. And finally, before the commercial break, I want to mention next weekend, Central Kentucky Mystical Market at the Clarion Hotel. And if you're thinking about the Clarion Hotel there, you can use that as an excuse to come to see how it's laid out. But yeah, Central Kentucky Mystical Market is coming up next week. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message and Bonehead Weekly's movie review.
Come visit the Universal Energy Expo May 7th and 8th at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center. Meet special guests, TikTok celebrity Madam Adam, published author Patty Wigington, psychic mediums the Connor sisters, and paranormal investigator Spirit Mechanics. Over 100 readers, healers, and vendors. Admission also includes door prizes and all workshops. The Universal Energy Expo. Come curious, leave enlightened.
Hey, Scarefest fans, this is Joe Lewis. This movie I'm going to review has been out for a while. It's been out for a couple of years, but I'm just now getting around to seeing it. My friend Chad recommended it. Wasn't really all that. I don't know if I need to really watch that, but fine. I'll trust Chad on this one, even though we often argue. But it's a movie I liked quite a bit, and it's easy enough to watch. It's on Hulu. If you have a Hulu subscription, it's Love and Monsters, and you may have already seen it. So here's the plot, and I'm going to read this to you. The destruction of an asteroid headed for Earth releases chemical fallout, causing cold-blooded animals to mutate into large monsters and kill off most of humanity. During the evacuation of Fairfield, Joel is separated from his girlfriend Amy, but promises to find her shortly before her parents are killed. It sounds pretty cliche. It's kind of a comedy and kind of not. It operates in both worlds, and it's kind of a monster rom-com. He's basically, people live underground now in these bunkers, and he's become really close and friendly with with these people who have become his family because he's been living underground for so many years. And they use these ham radios, and he gets in touch with his ex-girlfriend, and he wants to see her. And he's kind of a sniveling guy, which is a cliche I hate because it's overused too much. However, it works really well in this movie because the character actually has what we call a character arc. You see him here, and he becomes here, and he's played by an actor whom I didn't know, Dylan O'Brien. It's directed by a guy named Michael Matthews, whom I also didn't know. He's South African. It was shot in Australia. The only person in it whom I even knew was Michael Rooker. So I really like this movie. He leaves and goes on a quest, and we follow him as he meets other people, gets in adventures, and grows and becomes kind of a man. I really, really, really like this movie. It came out right as COVID was happening 2 years ago, and they ended up just sending it to, video on demand and streaming. And it's unfortunate that the timing, because this is one of those movies I would have recommended people go out and watch. Seriously, Love and Monsters. It's not the greatest title, but it is what it's about: monsters and this love he has. And will she be interested in him? Will she not? Will they make it? Is he going to die? So if you like monster movies, you want a rom-com, it's all kind of in there. I like I said, I can't really shit on this movie. It's not Citizen Kane, as they say, but it's a pretty damn good picture, and it's not too long. I just really liked it. I know I get crap all the time. He hates this and hates this, but Love and Monsters, man, check it out. Go out and see it. Like I said, it's on Hulu. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.
And welcome back, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and answer a question in the chat room. Yes, we do have some headliners coming up over the next couple of weeks. Yes, we do have headliners that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. But those we're going to do on Friday nights. So they're staying. Anyway, okay, to continue the conversation. I do want to, okay, paranormal. We are working on paranormal. How much am I allowed to say publicly about how hard it is to book paranormal?
Oh God, I would put anything on the record.
I would put it all on the record.
The real problem with paranormal, and this is no big secret, and I have discussed it with the agents, all of your paranormal, in particular, the network paranormal stars, they're used to doing the Paracon that's in the basement of the Holiday Inn or at one of the big prisons, or in other words, they're used to having a limited crowd. Meaning most Paracons, if they get 200-300 people over the weekend coming through the door, they are stoked. But to make money selling autographs is very hard when you only have a couple hundred people. So what they do is they all are used to getting appearance fees. Now, out of our celebrity lineup thus far of major horror stars that everybody's really excited about, guess how many have appearance fees? Zero. So, what we have to do is we have to literally do a weird negotiation with them where we have to convince them that if you think you're worth that much money, first of all, you have to do it as a guarantee. And if you don't think you're worth that much money to us, we might not need you after all. I wish there was a better way to put it. But that is why we've been so draggy on announcing them. We've got 2 different agents we're working with. We've got people lined up. We're getting numbers on. We've made an offer to one bunch. We should have the numbers ready to make an offer to the other bunch. And then we're going now. This goes back to what Brandon was talking about, though, on YouTubers and that type of stuff. We're going to go out and we're going to find some of the really popular streaming shows, and we're going to try to bring those people in. So you'll have people that you will not be meeting at whatever prison in Ohio or the nut house in West Virginia, whatever. So that's where we're at on it. Hopefully we'll have some names within the next week to 2 weeks to start dropping, but I wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, and I also want to do some true crime stuff. Like that would be kind of cool. And I posted that the other day. Like I'm a huge true crime fan.
Yeah, go ahead.
But to whoever was asking about headliners, yes, Wes covered it very well. We do have headliners, but I also believe in foreplay.
So there. Welcome to the Scarefest orgy. And anyway,
what I say is that two things. One, Jake had asked in the chat if we were going to still be doing the slasher speed dating, I think is what it's called. Yes, I believe that we are still in talks for bringing that to the show, either as an on the floor thing or an off-site at another venue. But we just we didn't have a lot of time to get the planning done last year. Just logistics were a little rough. And then on the true crime stuff, I know I have put the feelers out to some folks. If you have content creators that you listen to and that you really enjoy, send them to me. Send them to me in a Facebook message, or my email is just adrian@thescarefest.com. I've reached out to a couple of the ones that I listen to, and they have tons and tons of fans. I haven't heard anything back yet. So I figure that's probably just because they maybe get inundated with feedback and messages. But if anyone has a connection, I saw that Meredith said true crime is my jam. So if anyone actually like has a contact for any of these folks, and send it to me, because we would love to get the ball rolling on bringing that to the show.
Now, Adrian had talked about photo ops before we get into something, and like the speed dating and some other stuff on the floor. So like I've got a couple things to talk about, I guess, with that. So one, so on the floor, we're really trying to build up, I guess, entertainment options. And so we want people to stay engaged. We want people to it be something that you can stay at like all day long and always find something to do. So in addition to like the entertainment, in addition to like the performers, we're also thinking about, and we found a company that does it, like setting up video gaming on the floor for like the new release from Gun, and then also Friday the 13th, all the horror games, Dead by Daylight, to be able to do a bunch of that on the floor and have an area sectioned off for it. The other thing is too, we're going to have more prop scenes and sets set up around the floor so you guys can take pictures and stuff like that, which I've always thought is really cool. I've always enjoyed doing that. And I was talking to my good friend Mike, and Mike was, if you guys saw him he had a booth, Carnivorous Creations, at Scarefest. He sold the axes, like the shining axes, and the Ooze from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Great guy, does great work. And he brought our Killer Clowns from Outer Space in costume photo op together. Like he made all that, he brought it down, the costumes, everything. And so without him, we wouldn't have had those great shots of the clowns playing on UK's floor in Rupp Arena, or the awesome photo ops that we got. And so we've been talking with Mike about doing that. And he also does them at like Horror Hound and a couple other shows. And he will work on sets and bring them down, because let's be honest, if you're paying a shit load of money in a lot of cases for a photo op, blue background only goes so far. You got to find a way to spice it up a little bit. got between that and my foreplay reference, like I probably need to go to sleep.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah. So he's going to be working on some backdrops for us for the photo ops that are only going to be like, you're not going to find them anywhere else. You're not going to have like a blue screen behind you or all that stuff. It's actually going to be like, stuff that you recognize from the films for our group ops and even maybe some for our individual ops. So it's good. To me, the idea of it's pretty badass. Like I've seen a lot of them. The Killer Clowns thing, like I enjoyed that so much. It made it so much better than and I love Herod and all those guys, like they're great guys. But if you just have like 4 actors in front of a blue screen and you're taking a picture with you, like it just doesn't, I don't know. You can't just keep doing the same thing. Like you got to make it better. And so we're really, me and Mike had a really good conversation about what we're going to do.
Add that, if you all remember last year, we had the Jaws set up when you first came in that you could take a photo with. So Joe Parrish from Blackgate Studio, he is the one who built that from scratch. And he also is working on a set pretty similar kind of to what Brandon is talking about. And he's kind of recreating like the Crypt Keeper set, where he's sitting in his chair and he's got his book and everything. So I think that will be a great thing to be able to come and see this year. So we'll be putting out some more information about that and like where Joe is going to be on the floor. And so everyone gets a chance that wants to stop by and see that and take a photo and everything. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I talked to somebody else last night about building the big yellow. Oh shit! Okay, hold on.
The big submarine from the Beatles.
No. I have to shut up because we've got all these announcements made, and I start. Yeah, so
Brandon's gonna get confused about who has been announced and who he signed and who hasn't been announced. So no more talk about photo ops tonight. Plus, it's 10:07.
And yeah, true. Yeah, so Brandon needs to shut up because I almost like just started talking about some shit that would like
blah, blah, blah,
give
blah,
away
blah.
like 2 announcements. So I need to be quiet.
Yes, exactly. Wes, do you have anything else?
No, the only thing I will remind everybody that next week, Tom Matthews is scheduled to be on the show, and this time I've got his phone number to remind him.
We're going to send him a little text so we don't have to like wing it.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
Am I going to be on the show next week?
I haven't even set up a co-host yet.
I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it?
Nope.
Chad, you're it.
Chad, tag.
Who do I have coming up? Then because I gotta use Chad for the good ones that he. Let's see here.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Me and Tom don't take any offense to that at all. We gotta use Chad for the good ones.
I'm still trying. Well, actually, okay. No, I'm gonna back off that. There's a good chance I'll should know this weekend, but I've invited a guest for the 15th, which is more of Chad's purview.
Forte?
Forte. There you go. So anyway, yeah,
okay,
but they're not confirmed. Anyway, so Brandon, you want to do Tom Matthews?
I don't know if I'll be in town next Friday.
Well, then that's another problem.
Oh.
Chad, you might be doing Tom Matthews after. I'll just go with. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this executive decision. Chad, you are doing Tom Matthews this Friday. Then once I know who the guest is on the 15th for sure, then I'll invite one of you two. And then after that, we got John Cassier coming up on the 22nd. So,
yay!
So we got just a great month coming up. Okay, I'm done with that. Anybody else?
Awesome.
Anything?
Thanks for all the feedback in the chat and everything. I've been reading a bunch of your messages, but Brandon shut up long enough for me to say anything. So, hi everybody that was in the chat tonight.
So, call it a night.
Love you, Brandon.
We're calling it a night, everybody.
Sorry.
Thanks for tuning in to the council meeting for April of 2022. We'll be back next week. See you then.